media anticipates imminent conflict.
3, 2, cue the feed.
Conflict evaporates under control.
We're off the block, people. Move.
Go to the market board. No, stay on him.
The Fight in theaters now.
Last night on this very show, we reported what appeared to be credible information about imminent military action. Venezuela was on the table. The signals were real. Every major network ran with the same story, but here's the truth. And here at the Next News Network, we always bring you the truth. President Trump is just that smart. What unfolded wasn't chaos or confusion. It was the most calculated information warfare operation we've seen in modern politics. Trump let everyone chase the decoy while he prepared the real message. And tonight we're going to show you exactly how he pulled it off. Now here's what's at stake. The credibility of every major news network just took a direct hit. They spent hours screaming about imminent war. They dragged Tucker Carlson's name into the hysteria. They ran panic graphics and breathless coverage about a conflict that existed only in their imaginations. Meanwhile, President Trump stepped to the podium and delivered a 19-minute address so disciplined that even establishment figures compared it to Ronald Reagan. The networks wanted to frame him as dangerous and unhinged. Instead, they exposed themselves as reactionary and reckless. For the American people, this matters because it proves what we've been saying for years. The corporate press doesn't report news, they manufacture narratives. And when that narrative falls apart on live television, trust dies with it. This wasn't just a bad news cycle. This was an extinction-level event for media credibility. And some news on the financial front, because as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned, it's that uncertainty isn't temporary, it's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal is not a plan, it's a gamble. And for over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments, they've helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Now, nobody knows what 2026 will bring. But one thing's for sure, in an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. When you are sitting around the table this holiday, surrounded by a family, remember the best gift that you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind, and that's what Noble Gold delivers. So before the year ends, take one smart step towards a safer future and visit nextnewsgold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's nextnewsgold.com. And make sure you check out the telephone number, 877-646-5347, and find out how you can get one of these beautiful silver coins, actually 10 of them, if you qualify. And silver is going up quick, so you want to make sure you get in right away. I mean, silver is exploding. So let's get into what's happening here, because we got some really interesting news, because it gets better. While the press was melting down over phantom wars, Trump laid out the numbers that they didn't want you to hear. Under Democrat rule, the annual cost of a typical mortgage exploded by $15,000 in just 11 months. Trump has already cut that burden by $3,000. Inflation halted, wages rising, prices falling, reverse migration happening for the first time in 50 years. And then NBC's Peter Alexander stood outside the White House and called bonuses for 1.45 million active duty troops a grievance. That's right, a grievance. Supporting our military is now an attack in his mind. That's what Trump derangement syndrome does to a person. Now, it all unfolded. We're going to just kind of backtrack here, because if you remember this clip, this is what Tucker Carlson said last night, that everybody was running with. Of course, we saw it. We're like, holy cow, this is a big deal. We got to talk about it.
To start a war in Venezuela.
I don't know. I don't know when this program airs. The one that we're on right now. This thing's maybe live.
We're live now, and then it'll be posted immediately. So now,
my sense is, I don't know the answer. I've certainly been on the phone a lot about it. I have no power. I'm a podcaster, but I'm very interested. And so here's what I know so far, which is that members of Congress were briefed yesterday that a war is coming, and it'll be announced in the address to the nation tonight at 9 o'clock. And
of course, that didn't happen. Tucker Carlson getting roasted, though. Ill Donald Trumpo, after this, posted this. This is actually quite funny, but people are like, Tucker, you're running around telling everybody there's a war coming. Clearly, Tucker either is in on the joke, right? Either he got the memo to spread this disinformation so that the media would run with it because Tucker is an inside man for the administration. Let's listen. But other people roasting him. Let's listen. This is funny.
That's where she gets all her. Well, apparently we're not going to war with Venezuela.
Now, I'm clear to point out here that this is not really Tucker Carlson saying this. Somebody made this, and whoever made it, this is probably one of the most convincing AI videos I've ever seen. At first, I thought it was real, but then as you listen to what he says, it's hilarious.
Well, apparently we're not going to war with Venezuela. My sources were wrong. I just wanted to share how it is that I got the information, if you allow me. Last night, I had a dream. President Maduro came to me in the dream, and he said, Tucker, El Presidente Trump is declaring el war on Venezuela. I need your help, Tucker. The dream was so real that I had to check if it was true or not. So I called Candace Owens. She said that all dreams are totally credible sources of information. That's where she gets all her information from. So now I know we're definitely going to war with Venezuela. I had to check with a government source one last time before I leaked this totally credible information. So I called Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she said, Tucker, you go ahead and leak that information. I also had a dream about it. So that's basically what happened. Well, apparently we're not going to war with Venezuela.
But he tricked him. He tricked him. Check this out. President Trump tricked them all.
Like, they're just stuck. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Trump just tricked every liberal mainstream media station into playing his address. Michael Knowles literally telling America that Trump pulled a war in Venezuela fake out to make the networks broadcast all his first year wins in prime time, all in front of cozy Christmas decorations at the White House. This is simply the best media manipulator ever to hold office. So Michael Knowles pretty much saying that Trump pulled a fake out, even tricked Tucker Carlson into saying that, hey, Trump is about to announce war in Venezuela. Everyone looking at their cameras, at their televisions, stuck everywhere. Like, they're just stuck. And they're waiting for this announcement of an invasion in Venezuela that's never coming because he's making these announcements. I'm talking about, look at this. Every station, ladies and gentlemen, every CNN, ABC, C-SPAN, we're talking about MS Now. Everyone was forced to play this, and I'm going to show you the meltdowns because they're mad that he started to talk about and bringing the egg prices down, bringing gas prices down, bringing the
absolutely genius. Leak what you're going to supposedly say, get everybody fired up, and then tell them all the truth. Everyone's talking about it. President Trump just executed the mother of all trolls, and the media walked right into it, using Tucker Carlson knowingly or unknowingly to float the idea that a war with Venezuela was imminent. Trump sent every major network into full panic mode. What happened next? They cleared primetime coverage. They went wall to wall. They tuned in tens of millions of Americans, and instead of war, Trump delivered a full recap of his first-year accomplishments calmly, confidently, and in front of Christmas decorations. Absolute chess. He also told Americans something the media hates admitting. Illegal aliens were draining their hard-earned tax dollars. No spin, no apology, just the facts. In the end, the media did his distribution for him. His message reached everyone, and the panic narrative collapsed in real time. Love him or hate him, one thing's undeniable. Trump is the undisputed king of political trolling and arguably the most effective media manipulator to ever sit in the Oval Office. They never saw it coming. And President Trump, just about 10 hours ago, talking about the Freedom 250 and the 2026 celebration that honors our nation like never before.
But there is much, much more to come. We're going to have a good time. As we ring in 2026, Americans across the nation will see the iconic Washington Monument illuminated with festive birthday lights to honor the start of this historic anniversary year. Then from June 25th to July 10th of next year, we will host the Great American State Fair on the National Mall, featuring pavilions from all 50 states, highlighting breathtaking innovations and celebrating America's exceptional history and culture.
What's Minnesota going to show? What are they going to bring to the mall? NBC's Tom Lamas doing a Murian introduction of Peter Alexander, whose recount of Trump's address was saltier than we remember during the Biden years.
NBC News
We've just been listening to President Trump there give a year-end review in his first year back in the White House. Essentially a greatest hits, some real, some perceived, for his first year back in the White House.
Some real, some perceived. You see how they spin it? How disgusting. NBC News, though.
I want to bring in NBC News Chief White House Correspondent Peter Alexander. Peter, as we sort of unpack what the president just said, we should also set the table that this is going to sort of lead into the midterms. And the president has said, the White House said that even though he won't be on the ballot, he very much will be campaigning. And tonight felt it was all about the economy and all about affordability and what he has said his government and his administration has done for the American people in trying to bring down costs. And also announcing that warrior dividend, that active duty military members will get a bonus of $1,776, a nod to the 250th anniversary of this great country, but also sort of muddying the waters when it comes to health care, saying that he will take on the health insurance companies come next year, but also not exactly explaining what's happening with Obamacare and what's going to happen with the subsidies come next year.
Yeah, Tom, I think there's a lot to unpack. To be very clear, what you just heard from the President Trump tonight from the White House was indistinguishable in many ways from what you hear on the trail in the form of a political rally, except he had the sort of cheery greenery here behind him. I think fundamentally what the president did was, with the sort of brisk pace and that intense energy, is again lay out a series, a lot of his grievances, many falsehoods in the course of it. Unreal. And again, repeatedly he blamed right out of the gates his predecessor, Joe Biden. There are a series of things to fact check, including the president's claim that when he inherited this mess, as he described it, it was the highest inflation the country's ever had. That is not true. By the time he took over, inflation had dropped significantly. It remains at that place right now. But fundamentally, Tom, for the president, the challenge he faces going forward is that he, like his predecessor, is trying to tell Americans that things are better than they say they are feeling. 2/3 of Americans right now said they are dissatisfied with his handling of the cost of living and inflation. Tom.
All right, Peter Alexander for us.
Peter Alexander having a TDS meltdown outside the White House in real time. And we have our own AI reporter covering the topic.
He called breaking tonight. NBC's Peter Alexander. Breaking tonight, NBC's Peter Alexander just suffered a complete TDS meltdown outside the White House. He called military bonuses for our troops a presidential grievance. Mackenzie is live at the White House.
Right here on the North Lawn, I watched Peter Alexander dismiss bonuses for 1.45 million service members as political theater. He called presidential accomplishments falsehoods, absolutely disgraceful journalism.
So supporting our military is now a grievance? This is NBC's chief White House correspondent, folks. He can't hide his hatred for 15 seconds, and they wonder why no one trusts them anymore.
Breaking tonight, NBC's Peter Alexander just suffered a complete TDS meltdown outside the White House.
And that's our new AI anchor. Yeah, got quite a few of them. Been working on some side projects, and they're pretty cool, actually. Here's Newt Gingrich. What are your thoughts on it? What do you guys think? Do you like this stuff? I'm basically going to try to create a brand, like a Next News AI brand that's totally controlled by me. It's all controlled by me. I'm the director. I'm the producer of it. So it's not like AI running in the wild, but it's actual real news, timely, real news, but it is delivered by anchors that I physically create. So drop a thought about that. And we have this from Newt Gingrich on Trump's address to the nation.
Ronald Reagan. To watch President Trump give a 19-minute disciplined speech that covered that many facts was worthy of Ronald Reagan. That was a good speech. It was an important speech. Someday people will say it was one of the most important speeches of his career because it set the table for the entire debate over the next year and laid out what Biden did to make the country a disaster, what Trump has already done, and where we are going in general, and why that's the right direction. I think it's a very, very important speech. To watch.
Definitely an important speech, no doubt. Here we have from Sky News. His tone seemed to be angry and frustrated. Stone at Sky News reacts to Trump's address to the nation.
Text here, and the reason, actually really quite fascinating. Not for news lines, but for his tone, which seemed to me to be angry. It seemed to me to be frustrated. The context here and the reason he's decided to do this speech tonight is, I think, important. There was some speculation that there might be some announcement, perhaps on Venezuela. We were being steered away from that, and clearly that steer was correct. There was no new announcement on Venezuela or indeed on anything else significant. Instead, as you point out, what it was a greatest hits. But the context in which he made it is I think, really important to point out, because his polling numbers are really...
You got duped too. Yes, you did. Caitlin Collins, their takeaway from Van Jones and Scott Jennings on Trump's speech.
Back in the ring and start defining...
I mean, you're very in touch with the president's base and what those voters want to hear. Do you think they heard that tonight?
Well, I think they wanted him to get back in the ring and start defining the contours of the election. I mean, I think he spent a lot of last year on foreign affairs to great success. But now we're moving into an election year. And the first line, I inherited a mess and I am fixing it, reminding people that we were in a deep hole. And that's why he got elected in the first place. He is going to have to ask for some forbearance from the American people. But you can tell he does have a story to tell here. Some of it is in the big, beautiful bill. That is the centerpiece of his domestic policy agenda. The tax cuts are good. And he does have villains here. The health insurance companies are a good villain. The Democrats being at an 18% approval rating, that's a good villain. And so when you're going into an election, I think it's got two jobs. One, sell what you're doing. But two, you got to post up against the alternative. The American people just rejected the alternative a year ago. And now he needs them to reject the alternative again. So I guess for Republicans, he's their salesman. And he has not been leading the sales fight on defining the contours of the election. But now he is. And I think you'll see a lot of Republicans saying, OK, the salesman in chief is back. He's our leader. Let's get behind him.
Van Jones?
Yeah, no, we're going to skip you, Van Jones. Don't worry about it. Here we have Luke Ball writing, President Trump's address to the nation was a Trump rally speech. In the past tense, the bully pulpit was well leveraged.
Have ended war. It was a Trump rally speech in the past tense. What do I mean by that? On the campaign trail, he said, I will do this, I will do that. And tonight he said, I have worked to fix the economy. I have ended wars. I have sealed the border. I think that blaming the president for any lingering economic problems at this point is like blaming the firefighter for the work the arsonist did. It's going to take a little bit of time to clean up. And I just have to think of the juxtaposition of when Biden wanted to address the nation and make his political arguments. He did it and called us threats to democracy, said MAGA was a threat to democracy, and had soldiers standing behind him as he pounded his fists on the podium. The president delivered cold, hard facts tonight, and I think the bully pulpit was well leveraged.
Yeah,
it was a
baby.
Trump.
President Trump, let's get to some of those remarks that he did make.
Again, the Democrat inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see. The numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. The Democrat inflation...
More plans are coming here in the future for mortgages. Let's see. Here's more from the president.
Citizen or in the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. In the
Let's go, baby. America's going great again. Here's another clip.
Housing costs was a major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens. 100%. A major factor in driving.
Dude, Trump is just winning on all fronts. Here he's talking about the World Cup, the Olympics, and celebrating the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
Of independence. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. Soon we will host.
Yeah, because you got someone who's got some freaking backbone finally. Here he is talking about the border.
Wages are up. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen.
An economic boon is coming, and I am ready for it. Let's see. Reverse migration. Wow. America first, baby, coming back. Here's Ashley, who says she was disappointed in the commentary from Democrats. Regardless of how they spin it, I want the White House to know that we appreciate that 1776 bonus.
For Christmas. Hey guys, this is going to be really short and to the point. Last night, I watched President Trump's speech, as did my husband, and he announced that he was giving every active duty service member $1,776 as a little bonus before Christmas. And I thought, wow, this is really great. And my husband looks at me and he says, who else would do this? You know, what other president would do this? And I was like, exactly. It wouldn't happen. And we thought of all the wonderful things that could be done with this, especially for our junior service members who, you know, they do live on a much tighter budget. They often have more than one kid. And money can be tight, and especially around the holidays when you're trying to buy gifts for your children, pay extra bills. And a lot of families go home to visit, you know, their parents or others, and that can get very expensive. So we thought, this is fantastic. Until I get up on social media this morning and I see Democrats saying the most horrible things. Like, can they not give him credit for anything? This is a wonderful gift, okay? Especially for those who sacrifice the most, that have missed many Christmases, birthdays, countless anniversaries, any holidays. These people deserve it more than anyone. So you can scoff and make it personal to President Trump if you want to. I think that's really sad. Okay, how about you say, you know what, maybe I don't agree with him on everything, but this is something nice that he could do for our service members. But they can't. They can't give him any credit. So I want to say, from a former service member, from a military spouse who lives on a military base and sees the struggles that these people go through every single day, thank you to President Trump. Hey guys, this is going to be really short and to the point.
Thank you, President Trump. So here's the moment the mask completely slipped. While critics overseas claim Trump sounded angry and frustrated, military families across the country woke up to a $1,776 bonus. And they said, thank you. The money's real and it matters. The media wanted to talk about tone. Americans cared about results. Trump used their Historia as cover to deliver a reset message directly to the people. Borders secure, nation strong, America respected. The corporate press wanted panic and they got checkmate instead. And the whole country knows who's actually winning this information war. So what you just witnessed tonight was a masterclass in strategic communication. President Trump understood exactly how the media would react. He knew they couldn't resist the war narrative. He let them run with it, exhaust themselves, and expose their bias to the entire nation. And then he calmly delivered results while they scrambled to explain themselves. Here at the Next News Network, we always bring you the truth. And the truth is simple. Trump was 10 steps ahead of everyone, including us. That's not embarrassing. That's impressive. And it matters because the information war is the real battlefield. Whoever controls the narrative controls the country. And for years, the corporate press, they held that power. Tonight, they lost it on live television. So here's my question for you. Do you trust the corporate media to tell you the truth about Trump? Yes or no? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to support us and support us proudly, check out the Next News merch shop. You'll find it linked in the description.